Hey everybody, Scott Lear here with B Chord. We are with Mr. Taylor Lightcap. How are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good. So this is the first time we are actually here right outside of Nashville doing it in his studio. So we want to bring this to you, and it's the first time we've ever interviewed a songwriter. So first off, Taylor, how'd you end up in Nashville? Give us a little story about how that all came about.
When I was deciding what I was going to do after high school, college-wise, I already had a dorm room and everything set to go to Ole Miss down in Mississippi. And I always wanted to do music. I started writing music when I was really young, middle school probably. Started playing guitar before that. And I just had this feeling maybe a month before classes were supposed to start that Nashville was where I was supposed to be. So I had already been accepted to MTSU, so I changed my whole plan, went to MTSU, and so that's how I ended up here. And then everything else is, a part of the story I'm still living now. So.
That's awesome. So I mentioned you're our first songwriter that we're actually interviewing. So tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a songwriter, being able to pour your heart out and kind of give it to somebody to actually let them roll with it. So
I'm one of the more uncommon songwriters, so to speak, because I still work on the label side as well as doing the songwriting. And I have a good friend named Thomas Archer, who's a #1 songwriting artist now, or #1 songwriter with just had Hurricane go #1, and we've been friends for a long time. And he was finally like, Taylor, I know you like writing. Why are you not out in some of these sessions with us? And he's like, I know you know all the people, why aren't you out, trying to do it? And so he kind of talked me into it probably a year and a half ago to really go after it and hit it hard. And so since then, I've been doing everything I can to get in rooms with talented people, and it's always been a way for me to, like you said, pour my heart out. And I love writing songs for my wife. I love writing about personal experiences and being able to put that down in a recording. And I'm not a huge singer, but I love writing with artists. So that's usually what I lean towards is having have my sessions to where I'm usually writing with a songwriter that I know, and then usually we try to pull in an artist so we can have them sing it. But that's about it on that front.
So how do you you're kind of on the background, you're not that front person, the name kind of shows on there. Most people don't see it. How does that work? Are you cool with that? How does that play out?
Yeah. And most of the writers that I write really well with are kind of on that same path too. And I like kind of being behind the scenes, but I also like being able to say, hey, I wrote that. It's cool when you're proud of something. There's a lot of days you come out of a session where it's not something that's great, but there are those days where you get halfway through the song and it's not even finished yet, and you're like, we have something special today, like. And exactly who the artist is that you would dream of having cut it. So yeah, that's one of the coolest things.
That's great. So I'm going to ask you a question, and this can be kind of very well-rounded, but favorite song so far. So it can be one you wrote. It can be one that you've heard out there. Going to kind of leave it open to you. What you think?
Right now, I would have to say there's a song that a female artist is cutting. Her name is Jenna Renee. And it was a day that it was like a dark and gloomy day. It was rainy outside. I don't think any of us were really in the mood to write anything happy, but somehow we did just the opposite, and we wrote a song called Drunk Girls. And so it ended up being something that her producer loved, and she just cut it in the studio last week. So it'll be on her EP that's coming out sometime soon. But yeah, that's probably the one that I'm most excited about, I would say.
That's awesome. So on the label side, you're with Riser House. So give us a little bit of how that works, who you're working with, what's going on there.
Okay, so yeah, I'm with Riser House Entertainment. It's a full service label management company and publishing house. And my main project is with Mitchell Tenpenny. I handle all of his sponsorships and endorsements. Really anything that has to do with a strategic partnership. That's what I handle for Mitchell. And so there's some other young artists that are signed there for publishing and their record deals, and so I'll be taking them on probably soon when they start getting bigger and their names start, gaining some more, marketable equity that we call it. So, for example, like this past tour that we got Mitchell on with Dustin Lynch, we did a deal with Realtree, the camo company, and we got his trailer wrapped and we got him fully endorsed by them, and so that was really cool. It was his first big major endorsement, and so that was the last cool big project that I had a hand in. But that's the day-to-day on the label side there for me.
That's awesome. So you do a lot online, and also shows you're a consultant too. So tell us a little on the consultant side, what you do.
So that's kind of what it kind of ties in together. I'm a strategic partnerships consultant. So I have a lot of contacts in the outdoor industry, the audio industry, those kinds of things where I link up artists and songwriters with brands and companies that are wanting that exposure, and they want their name to be tied to certain artists. So like for example, we got Mitchell signed with Gibson, so he's an official Gibson artist now, and so those are the types of things that I've been doing for years. And with different artists, and we've all kind of come up at the same time. We're all around the same age at the same point in our life, and so I kind of found a little niche there for myself, and was able to really use some of the great friendships that I gained over time to create a little business, and so that's what I've been doing ever since.
That's great, man. So favorite song, I'm going to hit you with one. Favorite song on the radio right now?
Right now, I would have to say I don't think it's his newest single, but Blake Shelton, I'll Name the Dogs. That is just like one of the most clever hooks. Like that's one of those where like you hear it and you're like, I wish I would have written that. It's so good, so clever.
That's great. So you are a guitar collector. Yeah. So tell us probably your most pristine guitar that you have, or your favorite that you got.
Well, okay, so this is probably my favorite. This is my Gibson Hummingbird. But this one is really special to me for a couple of reasons. The main reason why it's so special is that was like my first really expensive guitar that we got, but what makes it really special is that this is the guitar that our friend Cole Taylor played our first dance on at our wedding. So I'll never get rid of that one. Even if it was a $5 guitar, I'd never get rid of it, just because of that sentimental value. He sang one of his original songs, "Girl from a Little Town," and he played my guitar on it. So that's probably the most sentimental value. This is my baby, my favorite everyday go-to.
That's awesome. Well, you segue perfectly into my next question because my next question was tell us a little bit about your proposal story to your wife.
Okay. So it was, we just got a lot of snow. And so in 2015, it was one of those ice storm days. You know, everybody was off work, and I didn't really have it planned out. I wanted to do some huge, elaborate thing, but I had the ring for a few months, and I just decided like I don't really want to go another day without her not knowing that I want to be with her forever. So I we do this thing when we don't have anybody around to take our picture. We'll put the iPhone on video mode, and then we can just take screenshots of the video. So she set the phone up like that, and I had the ring in my pocket. You know, we're out in the snow, taking pictures in the snow, whatever. And so we take all these pictures, doing all these different poses. And mind you, the camera is still on video mode, rolling. And so I'm like, oh, I want to take one more picture. And while she was turned around, and when she turned back around, I was down on one knee, and she thought I was joking. And so there were some explicit language because she didn't believe me. But it ended up, she got the point, and luckily she said yes, and made me the luckiest guy on the planet, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. Take notes, everybody, on that one. That's classic. Very, very well played. Favorite spot in Nashville to play?
To play, there's a cool, tiny little bar on Music Row called Bobby's Idle Hour Tavern, and it maybe holds at capacity. It's less than 100 people.
Okay.
It's super tiny, but I've gotten to play a few writers rounds with some artists that I've written with there, and it's just a really cool feel. Like you feel like that there's a lot of history in a place like that. It's really tired and old and dingy, but as far as the music wise, it's a place with a lot of history, and a lot of really cool artists have been in and out of there, and songwriters, and so yeah, that's probably the coolest place, I would say.
That's awesome. So we're here till Tuesday. Give us one thing we got to do while we're here till Tuesday on this little trip that we're down here.
Whiskey Kitchen. That's my favorite kind of bar restaurant. They have great food. They're owned by M Street, I believe, which they own like Cane Prime, if you've heard of them, a lot of the other nicer restaurants. This is kind of the middle of the road. They have all kinds of different whiskeys, that kind of thing. I go there for the bourbon poppers. They have these little fresh breaded chicken bourbon poppers thing, and they serve them with really crispy sweet potato fries. Ooh. And it is like heaven. So yeah, if you're gonna go one place, that's what I would recommend.
I got it. I'm getting hungry already. That sounds really, really good. Okay, so I'm going to hit you with a question I ask every single person we talk to, okay? It's our B-Chord signature question. You're stranded on an island. You can take one instrument with you. What instrument's going to be, and give us any sentimental value, what it's going to be, make, all that good stuff.
Okay. I would probably have to say I would take my Taylor, just because of the sentimental value it has for me, being the special guitar. It's kind of like I've actually written a lot of my songs when I first started really getting into songwriting on that guitar. So I feel like it has a little mojo or magic in it. So yeah, I'd take that one for sure.
That's awesome. So before we let everybody go, give them all check you out on whatever it may be, Instagram, all that. Floor is yours right now.
Okay, well, you can check me out on Instagram. That's what I'm on mostly. It's just at Taylor Lightcap, just how it sounds. And you can see there what I'm up to, whether it's businessman, consultant, or songwriting. You can keep up with all of it there. My wife and I both, kind of put our lives out there for everybody to see. We're not, too proud to show everything that goes on. We have a lot of fun, and you can see that by looking at our profiles. We live to have fun every day in whatever we're doing. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Taylor, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Everybody, please do us a favor. Go follow us at bcord615. We're on all social media as well, or on the web at www.bcord.net. Thanks so much. Taylor, thanks again, man. Really appreciate it.